One man, one vote, one European crisis after another. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban has become one of the most disruptive figures in the European Union. Whether it's economic decisions, foreign policy or major reforms, the EU's ability to act often stops at Budapest.
Orban, the EU's human buffering icon, no matter the speed. He keeps the whole system stuck on this way.
Viktor Orban has used his position to block or stall key decisions more than any other EU leader in recent years. Inside Hungary, his government has changed election laws, placed restrictions on independent media and banned public demonstrations, all under what it calls family protection or national sovereignty. The European Parliament now classifies Hungary as an electoral autocracy, a democracy in name, but not in practice. At the same time, Orban is forging new alliances. In 2025, he hosted CPAC in Budapest, sharing the stage with far-right figures from across the world. His message: the EU needs a new direction. And now he's vetoing Ukraine's path toward EU membership, citing national interest, despite 26 other EU leaders pushing forward. Hit the like button, subscribe, and let's find out how one man could rewrite the future of the whole continent. Viktor Orban is no longer just Hungary's leader. It's positioning himself as the face of the rising movement across Europe. In 2025, Orban took center stage at CPAC in Budapest, surrounded by far-right leaders and allies from across the globe. He called for a new Europe, one based on nationalism, tradition and strongman politics. It wasn't just a speech, it was a declaration.
At the EU level, Orban has repeatedly blocked sanctions on Russia and delayed financial aid to Ukraine. Just recently, he used his veto to stop progress on Ukraine's EU accession talks, despite 26 other countries supporting it. His argument, national interest. But critics say it's part of a larger plan to stall EU action when it matters most. He's also building political alliances. His Patriots for Europe bloc in the European Parliament is made up of hardline parties from France, Austria, the Czech Republic, and beyond. It's a growing force, tied together not by common policy, but by a shared goal of pushing back against EU centralization and liberal democratic norms. This isn't random disruption, it's calculated. Orban is using the EU's own rules, like the need for unanimity to limit its ability to act. He's not trying to leave the EU, he wants to reshape it from within.
And it's working. Decisions are slower, unity is weaker. The question now isn't whether Orban is challenging Europe, it's how far he is willing to go, and how long the EU can tolerate it. Many people ask, why doesn't the EU just expel Hungary? The answer is simple. It legally can't. The EU treaties include no mechanism to remove a member state, even if it breaks the core values of the Union. This means Hungary, no matter how controversial its government becomes, keeps its seat, its funding access, and most importantly, its voting power.
Viktor Orban's government receives massive financial support from the EU. Currently, over 20 billion euros in funds are frozen due to serious rule of law concerns. Still, Hungary remains an active player in the EU Council, often blocking key decisions. In areas like foreign policy or EU enlargement, where unanimous agreement is required, Orban's single vote can halt everything. What makes things worse is Hungary's alliance with Slovakia. Under Article 7, the EU can suspend a member state's voting rights if it breaks democratic standards. But this requires agreement from all other countries. Hungary and Slovakia protect each other by vetoing any sanctions, freezing the process entirely. This is the paradox. A government accused of undermining democracy is using EU democratic rules to stop collective decisions.
The European Union actually has powerful legal tools to deal with members like Hungary, but they have not been fully used yet.
One such tool is called enhanced cooperation under Article 20 of the EU Treaty. This allows a group of willing member states to move forward with important policies or projects, even if some countries like Hungary oppose them. For example, several countries can work together on joint military cooperation or defense spending without needing every member's approval. This way, the EU can keep moving ahead without being blocked by a single veto. Another tool is a new legal idea involving Article 7, the so-called nuclear option. Normally, Article 7 allows the EU to suspend a country's voting rights if it seriously breaks the Union's core values. But Hungary and Slovakia have been protecting each other by vetoing sanctions against one another. The double trigger approach suggests launching Article 7 procedures against both countries at the same time. This would remove their ability to block each other, making sanctions possible.
Using this mechanism could politically isolate Hungary, strip it of voting rights, and send a strong message that undermining the EU has consequences. These tools are already in the EU's legal framework, it just takes political courage to use them. So, is the EU ready to finally put its tool into action? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Denmark, though one of the smallest EU members, has taken a crucial role as a holder of the EU Council presidency. Its main goal is clear: to put maximum pressure on Hungary to lift its stubborn veto, blocking Ukraine's EU membership talks.
Marie Bjerre, Denmark's Minister for European Affairs, has been vocal about the need to move forward with Ukraine and Moldova's accession process. She stresses that offering these countries a clear path to membership is vital, not only for their future, but also for Europe's security and stability. Unlike the previous Polish presidency, which took a more cautious or passive approach to Orban's obstruction, Denmark appears ready to confront the challenge head-on. By working closely with other member states, Denmark aims to keep the 27-nation bloc united and prevent one country from holding the entire union back.
Though Denmark is small in size, its presidency is a powerful platform. Its action could help break the deadlock and send a strong signal that the EU will not allow internal vetoes to derail its biggest priorities. The coming months will test how much influence Denmark can wield against Orban's growing resistance. Despite years of tightening control, cracks are starting to show in Viktor Orban's hold on Hungary. Public frustration is rising over widespread corruption, increased censorship of independent media, and slow economic growth that fails to meet citizens' expectations.
Opposition parties have gained momentum, with Péter Magyar now polling several points ahead of Orban's ruling coalition. This shift signals a growing desire for political change among voters who are tired of the status quo. Orbán's government has responded by tightening electoral laws and using state resources to support loyalists, but these moves have not fully stopped the opposition's rise. This growing unrest challenges the image of Orbán's regime as unbreakable and questions its long-term stability. His weakening domestic position also threatens his influence on the European stage, where he relies on the strength of his government to push his agenda.
The man who built his power on control and dominance is now facing increasing resistance from within his own country. These cracks could have major consequences, not only for Hungary's future, but also for Orban's ability to shape the European Union from the inside. The European Union faces an important challenge. If it struggles to address internal disagreements, how can it effectively respond to major global issues, from tensions with Russia and China to uncertainty in the United States? Europe's strength depends on unity and cooperation. To navigate this, the EU has a clear strategy: continue withholding EU funds until reforms are made, work to politically isolate Hungary within decision-making processes, and consider suspending Hungary's voting rights through existing legal procedures. These steps aim to protect the Union's ability to act while respecting the rights of all member states. At the same time, the EU must balance firmness with fairness, ensuring it supports citizens in all countries while maintaining common values. So the question remains: will Europe find a way to address this challenge in time? You've seen the facts and heard the perspectives. Now it's your turn to weigh in. Like, subscribe, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Catch you in the next one.